Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. I'm here with the all-new 2024 Hummer EV SUV. We've been having the opportunity to drive this thing around a little bit, both on-road and off. So I'm going to be throwing together a little bit of footage of some off-road driving, some on-road impressions. We're out here shooting for a few different outlets. We've got Alex on Autos right next to us here getting set up to do his portion of the video as well. I just wanted to take this quick opportunity to intro this video and check out some of the things about this truck until he's ready to go. If you do want to see more on the Hummer EV in general, we have driven the pickup truck version, and from the B-pillar forward, this is the exact same vehicle. But underneath, we've got a little bit smaller battery and some key differences that make this a little bit better of an off-roader, as well as a little bit more practical for you if you want an entirely enclosed vehicle, if you will. This thing is still plenty crazy quick, weird to drive being so large, so heavy, so powerful. So there is a lot to talk about, but I gotta say, it just looks cool. It really does. So let's take a look around the truck and get inside and go for a little drive. Much like its pickup truck brother, this thing is mean, large, and in charge. Big orange wide vehicle lights on the top. This moonlight green matte paint coming on this Edition 1 vehicle. The Hummer lettering right up front and the H LEDs on the side. Skid plates underneath. If you get the Extreme Off-Road package, you get even more skid plates. Coming around and looking at the immense side profile of this thing. Yes, it doesn't have a pickup bed like the truck, but this thing has quite the presence. Lifted up a bit here with its air suspension. 3 different ride height modes. This one coming with 22-inch wheels wrapped in Goodyear Wrangler Territory all-terrain tires. If you get that Extreme Off-Road package, you get 18-inch wheels with more aggressive mud terrain tires. Everything from the B-pillar back is unique for the SUV. Here is our charge port, giving you access to up to 300 kilowatts of charging capability. The battery is a little bit smaller in the SUV, and it doesn't make quite as much power or quite as much charge capacity, but still very, very large. This thing is nearly a 9,000 pound vehicle. So a lot of that being made up by battery, but also a lot of the other fun bits around it. Full-size spare on the back, 22 inches for this model. This vehicle capable of up to 7,500 pounds of towing capability. There's a fun little accent. It's like a little bit of an American flag right here. That's cool. Let's take a quick look at the front trunk and rear cargo area. Start with this top button. Up front, we're greeted with just over 11 cubic feet of storage ability. Nice to have for maybe some dirty boots or recovery gear. You can see quite a bit of things in it right now. HEV on the back, some tie-down ports. Interestingly, no wall-style outlet in here. There is an optional generator package that provides up to 3 kilowatts of power out of the ports, but I don't believe this Edition 1 model has that. And the front trunk closes itself. But arguably more interesting is the rear opening. It is a gate, but it is powered. Button right here on the left, or from inside, press, and it presents itself. Make sure there are no young children or other vehicles in the car park behind you, because this door is quite large, saying Hummer EV right there. And you can see a high load floor, but a good amount of cargo space, up to just about 82 cubic feet of cargo area with the seats folded. We do not have numbers for seats up. You can see a good amount of our suitcases in there, and some buttons right here with which you can fold the second row seats, I will say a bit aggressively, and get a decently flat load surface. Coming into the back seat, very solid door. We're greeted with some really fun accents, bit of a brushed chrome look there, a braided material, very rubberized, some sturdy handles, door pocket there for water bottles, and some fun accents here, very moon and lunar themed. Lunar is the color of this interior on this Edition 1 model. You see some of that lunar theming going on in the floor mats as well. All rubber, very rugged. Pretty basic, boring seats, if you will. Rear climate controls. We've got heated seats back here as well, a USB Type-C and a Type-A. And then way down there below that, a wall-style 110-volt outlet. A little bit of storage, some air vents. Coming into the front seat, we are greeted with more of these cool accents. Very similar to the back, embossed into the door. You can see that there, Hummer EV, lest you forget what you're driving. More moon accents on the Bose speaker grills. In front of us is a 12.3-inch instrument display with all sorts of information. And then on the right in the center here, a 13.4-inch infotainment screen running a new infotainment system for GMC. A lot of customization here. We do have Google Maps built in. That works quite well. And also all the wireless and wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto goodness you would want. Below that, we have our climate controls as well as heated and cooled seats. Fun ways to turn that on. Below that, heated steering wheel, adjustments for traction control. If we had the Max Off-Road package, we'd have our locking front and rear diffs, as well as some parking sensors over here. Overall, I'm happy with the interior of the Hummer EV, both pickup and SUV. Like I said, everything from the B-pillar forward is entirely identical in the SUV to the truck. I'm happy that it's got Super Cruise right here. You can see that up here on the top of the wheel as well. I think it's a fun interior. I think it makes the truck feel really unique. And I am looking forward to seeing what it's like out on the road. All right, we are out driving the Hummer SUV. I'm here with Alex from Alex on Autos. We've been exploring some of these beautiful California windy roads here on this actually quite nice rainy day. We were a bit scared about the rain, but it's kind of creating a nice atmosphere. As you can hear, I am in adrenaline motor sound noise. Kind of makes for a silly experience, but you know, I actually don't totally hate that noise. Usually I'm not a big fan of fake electric sounds, but this thing is so absurd at the end of the day that, hey, why not have it be a little crazy to listen to as well? We are now driving the Extreme Off-Road package, so we've got the larger mud terrain tires on here, and it squishes, it loses traction quite a bunch, because electric motors can be so precise with their traction control. If you try to get on the throttle right here with some steering angle, you could feel the vehicle really limiting the power that it's sending to the different wheels. Good degree of preservation there. Not exactly a fun car to be hustling around these sort of twists and turns. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't wish I were in a Boxster right now. But this truck has been fun to drive around. It certainly has a presence to it and makes you feel like you're driving something special. I would rather be in something kind of crazy like this than simply in something boring. If I were in a Honda Pilot right now, I would be much more disappointed than if I were in something like this, then or at least so silly. You can feel the air suspension working, you can feel the traction control working. The Hummer feels like an event every time you're driving it. And for some people, they'd want that. They like that idea of even just a commute down to their job or taking the kids to school. You get to feel like you're really driving something impressive and incredible. And if you are going to actually utilize this thing off-road, it's incredibly capable as well. We're going to be seeing that here shortly, doing some off-road driving. But the engineers and designers at GMC really built this thing to be a no holds back, no reserve, impressive off-roader. And you can feel that. You can feel that passion in a car like this. A little bit of a straightaway here. The whole thing squats backward, and then when you get on the brakes, it entirely dives forward. It's not what you would consider to be good, it's just silly, it's just fun, it's juvenile. The whole thing yanks you back and forth. You see this big kilowatt readout on the side of the gauge cluster. This sort of truck doesn't need to exist, but I appreciate that it does. Are there better off-roaders out there? Yes. Are there better $100,000 luxury electric SUVs? Yes. But this is unique. It really is. All right, let's fast forward to taking it on some off-roading. Hopefully, if it's too mudded out, we might not have that much of an opportunity, but let's see what we can get into.
I'm in terrain mode right now, which is our low-speed driving mode. The truck is in raised 1, so I've got about roughly 2 inches of additional ground clearance available. In terrain mode, we have it's a one pedal mode, kind of. So we do use regen, but at very low speeds, we actually hand control off to the brake controller to give us more control of the vehicle at very, very low technical, in technical situations. So that's a little different than if you were just in one pedal drive. You'd be using primarily regenerative braking the whole time, unless you had a decel request that needed more than you could regen.
So this is the same setup as in the truck?
Yes. From that pillar right by your shoulder forward, it's the same. Everything inside is the same. It's really the wheelbase is different.
Okay.
So we had this really, it's still cool. So we have this awesome half pipe here where we're going to demonstrate crab walk. And we used to be able to go a little higher on the banks. The mud kind of prevents that a little bit now. This is a camera that is caked with mud, and even I got a little washing action there. I think it's just really caked out there. So I tend to use some of the off-road pages because I kind of want to know where the steering center is, especially when it's muddy. It gives you a little better idea. So anyways, we're gonna go through the half pipe here, and the wheels are turning in phase, and so the vehicle is kind of pointed straight, and we're traversing side to side. So this is our new little twist on crab walk and how to kind of showcase it. We do use it off-road occasionally. I don't know if anyone's ever been stuck off the road in a snowbank or something, but a lot of times you get those front wheels back on the pavement, but you just can't get the rear of the truck to hop up. That's a perfect case for crab walk, when you can actually get the rear axle turning the right direction. A lot of times we find we can get the truck back on the trail or whatever. So now we're in auto steer, or I think that's, so right now rear wheel steering off. Rear wheel steering auto is the default mode. So the wheels are turning out of phase at low speed, gives you really good maneuverability. And even if you don't off-road, I don't know if you guys had to do any U-turns or anything today, but it really makes the vehicle super maneuverable. It's a little hard to believe that some people will probably not be driving their truck in off-road and fields of dirt. But
this isn't normal?
But if they do, or even if they don't, that feature is working for them all the time. So I'm going to give a little virtual e-locker here in the rear to give us some assistance. So this is a software lock, right?
Yep. Because
there's no physical connection between the two rear drive motors. So now we're just holding the speed of those wheels really close together to function like a locker. Skid plates, very important, especially when you're using them all the time. A little articulation here, the air suspension. We do have 13 inches of travel. Really soft, comfortable ride.
How do you lock the rear on a dual motor? Is that actually
dual motor? It's a mechanical locker, just like the front.
Gotcha.
So, and it doesn't truly lock to binding. It can be smart and still provide traction, but I usually turn it off in this demonstration here. We're going to do the turn circle is 35.4 feet, which is like the size of a, we used to say Sonic, so this is even smaller, so it's probably more like a Spark, is what I'm going to say. But the pickup is 37.1, this is 35.4, so it's almost 2 feet smaller And this is the feature that even if you don't go off-road, it's really helping you every day. So we're gonna go full lock here to, if Aaron gets stuck, it's okay, but I cannot get stuck. So I mean, it is truly a muddy mess. So we had a big long course, but some of it is just literally undrivable at this point. So we had to parse it down a little bit. But it's actually pretty impressive. I'm gonna go just virtual rear.
Well, I mean, considering
There's the course.
considering that an EV is just typically heavier to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You know,
definitely.
are you aired down at all?
No, we debated about that. I don't know if mud, we kind of said, is it really going to help that much? And it does come at a ground clearance,
All right.
trade-off. So we opted just to stay at full placard. So
Cool. Well, thank you.
yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Appreciate it.
Careful getting out. Don't get muddy. I'll see you guys tonight.
Quick look at the outside of this extreme off-road package. Got the 18-inch wheels wrapped in the 35-inch tires. And we have some more cameras on this one, locking rear and front diff, some rock sliders as well, and some extra skid plates. Yeah, beefy, big beefy boy. We do have some highway driving impressions for you though here. As you can hear, we are hearing quite a bit of road noise with these mud terrain, all-terrain Goodyear Wranglers. This thing is a bit ponderous. Driving it along, you do have to place yourself in the lane. There's a decent amount of vagueness in the steering, but again, it all kind of fits with the size of the vehicle, with what this thing has got going on with it underneath, and the squishiness of the tires. Alex had pointed out that these tires actually aren't quite as loud as he was expecting, and I do have to admit that he's right. I've certainly been on all-terrain tires that are quite a bit louder than this. We think that's probably a little bit to do with the compound, but also just due to the amount of sound deadening that might be in this car, and the fact they're being squished down so hard compared to what you get on maybe a lighter off-road vehicle. This car is equipped with Super Cruise, but unfortunately it is not working for us. We do have a forward pre-collision warning system malfunction up in the top right of the gauge cluster, and I assume this vehicle is pretty darn early build, so maybe that has something to do with it. But even yesterday when we were driving up and it wasn't raining really hard like this, we still were not able to engage Super Cruise. We did get it to work at one point. Alex was driving and he wasn't super confident in its ability to negotiate lanes, tighter traffic. You are butting right up to the lane lines on both sides with this big vehicle. Some of our other colleagues mentioned that they were a little bit more confident in it coming up through some of the highways, so we're not going to take too much of that seriously with some of these early production cars. We've seen Super Cruise working really well in a lot of the other GM models, so I have no reason to believe that they shouldn't be able to make it work pretty well in here. However, Alex did also point out that in some of the other larger off-road type vehicles from other manufacturers, their semi-autonomous driving features were actually not enabled because of the squishy tires and off-road nature of the cars. So a lot of things at play. At the end of the day, you should still be able to get a pretty good working Super Cruise system here in the Hummer. In terms of range, we are 86 miles left. I don't love when vehicles don't tell you what that percentage reads out to. I think we're somewhere around low 40s right now. Alex is going to try to bring it up for us here on the side. But based on our calculations, right now we're only doing 1.1 miles per kilowatt hour. If we were to continue at these highway speeds with the rain and 3 people in the car and running the heat, that would only put us, based on what we assume the battery is, maybe high 180s or so in terms of range on highway. It's going to be a pretty worst case type of scenario for you. We did see that over the last 1,000 miles in this truck, it had been averaging about 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour. And in that case, you'd be looking a little bit more toward 220, 230 miles of range. If you were putzing around the city, you could definitely get up closer to 250, 260. And GM does plan on releasing some degree of range figures in the next few weeks. So maybe we'll be surprised, but you shouldn't expect to be doing any crazy road trips with this car. But realistically, if you're buying an off-roady type of vehicle, you're going to have to be making sacrifices in efficiency in order to get this off-road capability. So I guess you're just going to have to pick your charging accordingly. So we're definitely looking forward to getting the Hummer pickup and this Hummer SUV in at DMHQ, running some range tests, doing a more thorough evaluation of the Bose audio system. Haven't had any chance to do any sort of sound test evaluation on this trip, both with the rain and me not wanting to annoy Alex with our sound system testing. But once we get it back at HQ, we'll take care of all of those things. And I'm just looking forward to spending more time with this vehicle on a daily basis, going and getting groceries, taking people in the car, seeing what people think about such an absurd four-wheeled vehicle on the road as this thing, and maybe do a few Watts to Freedom launches as well, because that is pretty darn crazy. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.